Good afternoon to our secretary who's presenting today from the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy, Kelvin Charles, members of the media, viewers tuned in via Tobago Channel 5 and TTT, and those tuned in online. I'm Davia Chambers. Welcome to this week's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing, where we're brought up to date with decisions taken at the Executive Council meeting. At this time, we're going to begin, and I now invite the Secretary of the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy, Mr. Kelvin Charles, to make his presentation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chambers. A pleasant afternoon to all of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, I provide you with an update in respect of current matters at the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy. I begin with reference to the status update of our online teaching and learning. Let me congratulate the principals, the teachers, parents, and all the relevant stakeholders for their tremendous efforts and dedication given the challenge we faced consequent upon the closure of our schools in March of this year. 95% of our principals and teachers participated in training activities through the division and through their schools to make the process as smooth and as palatable as possible. Interestingly, there are some parents who have commended and who have expressed appreciation for the efforts of our teachers during this period of digital learning. Parents have also indicated that they are generally pleased with the efforts expended by the majority of our teachers, and they are satisfied to a large extent with the level of work that are being effective. However, it's a mixed bag, and there are some parents who have expressed some concerns in respect of the teaching learning situation. At this time, we will continue to provide the necessary guidance and support to our teachers and various practitioners to ensure that there is an adequate approach to the challenges that we all face. Some parents have commented that there have been situations whereby students, their children, are provided with exercises, but those exercises are not done in a manner that would allow the students to benefit in a way that they would like to see. In other words, there have been times when those activities are not preceded by instruction. That's one of the main concerns that at the division we are treating with. We began the exercise with a constraint whereby not all the students had access to digital devices. I am pleased to say that over time, we have found that parents, as well as various well-wishers, have been donating some of these resources to schools. Donors include banks, credit unions, religious organizations, internet providers, state enterprises, alumni of different schools, security firms, businessmen and women, civil society groups, and generous individuals. And therefore, I take this opportunity to thank all those citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who have donated devices to our schools and to students to allow them to participate and get involved in online learning. The division has taken the necessary steps to procure a number of these devices. Fulfillment of the order is taking a little longer than we all anticipated. I can say that I am advised that 75% of the devices are at a warehouse in Miami, and that the company that won the bid is awaiting foreign exchange in order to pay for these devices. Once that is done, then these devices will be shipped to us, and we can then begin the process of distribution. Interestingly, in a conversation with some students of two schools, primary schools, they expressed the view that this way of learning, that is the digital learning online, should be the way to go even after COVID-19. They said that they are enjoying the work of their teachers because they enjoy the use of animations, videos, and viewing online classrooms around the world. One child remarked that she loves the way that her teacher excites them online, and went on to say, and I quote, "It's better than when we at school." So again, I congratulate the principals and the teachers that are using all the innovations available to them to bring exciting experiences to these students. In respect of our approach to the distribution of those devices when they do get here, priority will be given to students who are in receipt of financial assistance from the division. In other words, there are some students who benefit from that in the sense that we say they are necessitous students, and therefore they will be given priority. Students who rely solely on printed packages as the only means of home-based learning will also be given priority. Students who are engaged at this time using cell phones because they have no other choice will also be taken into consideration, as well as where in households there are multiple students, this will also be taken into consideration. So in respect, ladies and gentlemen, of the efforts that we are making, all in all, or on balance, I think we are doing quite well. But as I did indicate, there are some pockets of dissatisfaction which we are treating with expeditiously. Concerning the reopening of school as a possibility, our planning continues. And we are operating on the key assumption that our students will be able to return to their classrooms. But of course, if that is not possible, clearly we'll continue with the digital approach to teaching and learning. But once they can return to the classrooms, then the approach will be one where the emphasis will be on blended learning. And that is because, consistent with our desire to follow the established health protocols, many of our schools, as they are currently constructed, will not be able to accommodate all the students at the same time. There are only about 5 schools, primary schools, that can do that, and 2 ECCE centers. So that we shall be using a system of rotation in the context of the blended learning or teaching strategy. Having our students rotate between home and school so that they can benefit from the various activities designed. Clearly, what will be required is a level of planning that would allow for a precise structuring of the timetabling, as well as the various programs of work or schemes of work and lesson plans, so that there is a certain kind of symmetry and consistency between those at home and those at school. We have decided at the division that in the last week of school, we will be devoting that time for planning in preparation for blended learning if and when it comes. And therefore, all teachers will be expected to engage in the various exercises, be it training exercises, be it curriculum planning exercises, be it lesson planning exercises, be it structuring of their timetables, so that we can hit the ground running in January or whenever that time is. The decision has also been made where we will, in respect of the delivery of the curriculum, there will be a greater emphasis on clinical supervision. Principals, heads of department, and senior teachers will be expected to ensure adherence to the curriculum and that topics taught are in alignment with schemes, programs of work, and weekly plans. Administrators will receive summary reports fortnightly, and school supervisors will be expected to report monthly to the division. Clearly, these programs or schemes of work and their various lesson plans must now cater for blended learning. And supervision would have to be done not only in respect of the physical classroom, but also in respect of the online teaching and learning activities. And of course, our heads of departments and vice principals and senior teachers will be expected, therefore, to log on to the various online classes that have been conducted or that would be conducted at those times. Each line supervisor will be expected to report on his or her schools visited, their observations, and action plans for the ensuing week. And that report must include all contacts, whether virtual or physical. And as I indicated before, a monthly report is to be produced. Intensive training, as well as the planning, as I hinted before, will take place in respect of the last week. And some examples of the topics would be online blended teaching approaches and strategies, ICT tools, including assessment tools, managing stress and professional growth, because there is no gainsaying the fact that because of the unprecedented nature of this situation, that teachers as well as the students and parents have been experiencing greater levels of stress. Accommodating different learning styles, as well as planning for instruction and various strategies for adjustment. Now, these are not all the topics, but are some of the topics. Because of what we did anticipate in respect of ongoing stress levels and those kinds of challenges, our Student Support Services Unit did engage in a number of activities, and I'm happy to report that that unit distinguished itself by reference to the following. At the reopening of schools in September, contact was made and support provided to 234 individuals and the families. And by October, that contact had increased by 87, taking the number to 311. The division, through that unit, assessed and provided financial assistance with school items for over 775 students from 465 families via the Necessitas Students Program that I made mention of earlier. From May 2020 to current, 694 food cards were distributed to families in need of assistance after an assessment was completed, and this was done via this division, so it was complementary to other distribution by other divisions. In September, we had created a referral form having regard to the challenges of COVID, and the form was made available online for ease of communication and specific response to intervention. The challenge was to ensure contact was made within 48 hours. To date, 63 referrals have been submitted and assigned for follow-up. The capacity of the unit was enhanced in that 14 guidance counselors were hired to boost the services to our students and our schools. And the expectation is by January 2021, all schools would at least have an officer assigned to it. There are vacancies for 5 school social worker, and as I speak to you now, there are plans to, before the end of this week, conduct interviews for filling those vacancies. The idea, ladies and gentlemen, is that this unit has to be well equipped because of the challenges we face and are likely to face going forward. During the period as well, the division through that unit collaborated with the Children's Court to provide social, academic, and psychological support. And They played a major role in respect of the transition process for students when they return to school, and particularly those who are in first form. We propose to repurpose the Teachers Professional Center, and that was a facility designed to ensure that our teachers are provided with contemporary professional training and insights into the best practices for the delivery of our curriculum. And given that we are moving at best into a blended situation, or at worst online totally, then that unit would be expected to operate differently. And the focus of that center will be as follows: to continue to provide professional information and support to teachers from ECCE to secondary schools. But of course, this will be done in the context of the online imperatives. Conduct current research on new trends in education, especially online teaching and learning. Prepare online resources that teachers will be able to access. Provide IT support to those teachers. Provide guidance and support to parents and other stakeholders as these relate to home-based learning, as well as to encourage interaction with principals and teachers to provide customized learning strategies, especially in mathematics, language arts, and reading for all levels of our primary schools. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the current activities relating to education, particularly teaching and learning at this time, as well as our plans to prepare ourselves for 2021, whether or not we continue with online teaching and learning for part of that year, or whether we are to switch to a blended form of teaching and learning. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Members of the media, you are now allowed to ask questions. Remember, once you have a question to pose to Mr. Charles, just indicate by raising your virtual hand. Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News. Good afternoon, Elizabeth.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mr. Charles.
Good afternoon, Liz.
With respect to, you said a company won the bid with respect to the devices. If you could tell us which company won the bid and to the tune of how much is this?
That information I can send to you, because I can't remember the name as we speak, but it's in the region of $7+ million.
Only one company was chosen?
Yeah, one company won the bid.
And that company is based in Tobago or Trinidad?
The company is based in Trinidad.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Clayton Clark, Radio Tambrin.
All right, are you hearing me? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Clayton.
Question, Mr. Charles, you mentioned that 75% of the devices have been acquired as correct name, and awaiting the buyers, awaiting funding for to pay for them. So there's need for 25% more. Can you just clarify that?
Yes, what I said was that 75% of the devices that we require I am advised in Miami in a warehouse waiting to be shipped. That shipment, of course, is directly connected to the payment for those devices, which is directly connected to the availability of foreign exchange to the company.
So how is the arrangement? The funding that was allocated by the THA, by the Bureau of Assembly, it was handed over to the buyer buys and then it's refunded. What is the arrangement?
No, a purchase order is usually done and payment is provided when the division is in receipt of in this case, the devices.
And how many devices are we talking about?
We're talking about 4,000 devices, thereabout.
All right. Second question, there's an outstanding matter with the school concessionaires. They have been informing us that legal documents were sent to the Division of Education and one before our High Court writ, and up to date, we spoke to them up to yesterday, no response from the division or even acknowledging receipt of the documents. Can you comment on that?
I have received no court documents relating to that matter.
And are you aware of the matter I'm speaking of?
I am aware of ongoing discussions with the school transport concessionaires, yes.
But we spoke with Mr. Dennis, that's the Chief Secretary, a couple of times before, and he said he's awaiting, you're the one as the line secretary. Are you in any way concerned as to what, well, right now it's just, I don't want to say speculation because you haven't received any document, but the discussions...
I have seen no document, no court document, yes.
Yes, I'm acknowledging that.
Yeah.
The discussions around the issues, how is that going from the division point of view?
There is a memorandum of understanding, and that memorandum of understanding will find itself into a contractual agreement. So as far as I'm aware, there is a conversation between the division and the PTSC reference that particular document.
My final question, the maxi-taxi concessionaires seem to be, well, they want to find out, after so many years of what they assume is a good working relationship with the Division of Education, why now transfer them over to the PTSC? And some are claiming they were not asked, they were not involved in the discussion, they were not given a choice, they were just handed over, or the process to hand them over without them even having reasons why. Are you not happy with the performance? What? It felt there's no explanation or reason or report has been given.
Unfortunately, your facts are not correct. We are not handing over any group to anyone. What subsists at this time is an arrangement that always existed. What we are trying to do is to tighten the arrangement so as to ensure that the maxi-taxi concessionaires are not disadvantaged, as well as to facilitate timely payment for their services.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, I am not seeing any more virtual hands. So if there are no more questions, that brings us to the end of this week's Post-Executive Council media briefing. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our members of the media for your questions. I'm Davia Chambers. Do enjoy the remainder of your afternoon.